Hey, I'm Scott Jones from Emeals, and you're listening to Real Food for Real Life. On this episode, I talk with Kara Goucher, a two-time Olympian, an American record holder, and one of the most accomplished female distance runners of all time. Kara is also the author of Strong, where she shares her secrets to conquering self-doubt and improving life performance.
I mean, running has been like the greatest gift in my life. It's taken me all over the world and given me so many friendships and so many incredible experiences. But who does it help other than me?
Yeah.
Like I'm the one getting the attention and I'm the one that gets to run fast and I'm the one that gets to go to the Olympics. So running has just given me so much and I feel like I want to give back. It started with my retreat 5 years ago and it continues to evolve in other ways, such as the book and this youth girls camp that I'm going to be starting this fall. And I feel like I'm finally kind of starting to realize why I was given the gift of running. And it's just really, I think it is to share with other people and to bring other people together and to help enhance other people's lives.
Kara talks about the importance of setting goals and why we actually shouldn't be afraid of the word goals. She also talks about how much she loves cooking for her family and how it helps her unwind from a busy day and signals the beginning of family time. And in a more candid moment, Kara also tells us how she lost a food standoff with a 2.5-year-old. Now, before we get to the interview, I have a few housekeeping items. First, send us your questions and comments. We read all of them. And if you have a suggestion for a future guest or a potential topic, I'd love to know that too. You can find us on Twitter @Emeals using the hashtag #AskEmeals. We also have an email address. It's community@emeals.com. If you don't already subscribe to our podcast, subscribe today. It's simple to do. You can find us at itunes.com/podcast/Real Food for Real Life. And while you're there, leave us a review. And finally, if you'd like more information on Emeals and our variety of meal plan food styles, you can find us at emeals.com. Try any of our meal plans free for 2 weeks, be it paleo, clean eating, or gluten-free. You can even have your shopping list sent directly to Walmart pickup at no charge, so your groceries are waiting for you. That's it. On with the show. Hey there, Kara. Welcome to Real Food for Real Life. How are you today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
I'm assuming we caught you kind of in the midday after workout, getting ready for the rest of your day.
Yep, dropped my son off at school. I had a little up-tempo mid-distance run, and after I chat with you, I'm going to go get a massage and then do a double. So yeah, just a typical day around here.
Wow, just never a dull moment. Well, congratulations on the book. I know that your fans are excited. I'm assuming you are really thrilled to actually have that book in your hands. I'd love to know, kind of to start, it feels like you really poured yourself out in the book. And I have to imagine it was fairly cathartic, but I mean, you really kind of pulled back all the layers. And, I just wonder now that you've been to some book signings and you're starting to connect with folks who have read the book. I mean, what's that experience been like?
It's been great for me. I mean, I've had issues with just my brain and confidence issues all the way back since I started running back in high school. And so it's always kind of been this weakness for me that was frustrating. But to be able to kind of just talk about it openly and share those experiences with other people, it kind of takes away the power of my fear or my frustration of that issue. So for me, it's been really great. And, I always thought I couldn't be alone. I couldn't be the only person that lacked confidence or had self-doubt, but it's not good that other people do, but like reaffirming that like when you're not alone and we all struggle, whether it's with running or other aspects of our life. Like there are times where we question what we're doing and we question if we're capable of doing what we're trying to do. So it's been great to connect with people on that level and to just kind of honestly just kind of be like, you're not alone, neither are you. Yay.
Yeah. Well, I always find that, and I know it's not reality, but when you see an athlete like yourself who performs for such a long time at such a high level and has done such amazing things, that you always, you would tend to believe, well, man, they've just got it all together. Look at what they're doing. But I guess on some level that makes you feel a little more real and accessible to probably the people that you're interacting with, and then allows them to be able to maybe feel like some of those tips and strategies that you've laid out in the book are things that they can actually do in their own lives.
Yeah. I mean, it's like everybody has something, right, that they're insecure about or whatever it is. And so, if you're worried about a workout, like I have been there, and maybe you feel a little less afraid or a little less alone or a little bit more able to conquer it, knowing that like I've had panic attacks about workouts as well. So yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good. So we all shouldn't freak out if we have to actually, stare down the barrel of a tempo run or, mile repeats or something like that, that even the pros get a little squeamish about that too.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing about life, right? Like if something matters to you, then there's emotion attached to it.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
if it wasn't scary, then you wouldn't be as invested as you are, like I've talked about, like when I didn't make the Olympic team in 2016, it hurt so bad. I mean, it was just so painful, and it's still painful to think about and talk about, but I had to want it that bad. And I had to be willing to, I had to like make myself vulnerable to give myself a chance to even make it.
Right.
And for everybody else, like when you're out there and you're trying to, whether it's for fitness or you're trying to meet some goal, like you have to care. If you don't care, then you're never nervous, and then you're probably never really going to progress either.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, to that point, again, I know that, professional athletes like yourself, have a strategy and these goals that you've set out for 1 year, 2 years, whether it's leading up to a big competition or the trials or the Olympic Games. And you spend a lot of time in your book talking about goal setting. And I think for many folks, that feels like, the area that like only athletes or CEOs talk about. But you make it clear that setting goals that are meaningful to you are really create that pathway for you to find success.
Yeah. I mean, for me, little goals along the way enable me to really achieve the bigger goals that I might have. And so if I can meet a couple of goals a week or, a few bigger goals a month, those all add up to a much bigger goal that I have. So if you can't, like, if I can't get my long run up to, so like maybe my goal is to get my long run up to 18 miles. And then 3 weeks later, my goal is to, run a strong 22 miles. Like I have to hit those goals before I can go ask my body to run 26.2 hard. So
yeah.
All of the little things along the way matter. And I think the word goals kind of scares people off. And when I was in high school, just that word, it seems heavy and big. And I also was afraid of it. But then the thing I've learned is like, if you don't meet a goal, that doesn't mean you failed. Goals are just like markers along the way. And so we kind of have to like demystify it, like, or how scary that word kind of is.
Yeah.
It's just, it's basically just like a marker along the way. And if you don't meet a goal, that doesn't mean you failed. And it doesn't mean that you're like not worthy. Like I did not meet my goal in 2016, but would I do it all over again, knowing the result? Yeah, I actually would. So
yeah. And
it was worth it.
That's great to hear. I know even in my own house, I have 2 teenage girls, and I tend not to use the word goals first because I have a reaction to it, but I know they do too. It sounds very adultish to use goals. So we just talk about having a plan, and that, you need a plan, you need a roadmap, and you don't, there are going to be twists and turns on that path or that roadmap, but you need it so you kind of know what your end goal is or where you want to go, whether it's a small achievement or something that's very substantial down the road. And I think that, you touch on something that we see even with our users who are coming to us for, help meeting some health and nutrition goal or weight loss goal, or just trying to improve the way that they're eating. And I feel like that there's so much pressure, and I don't know, I mean, I'm sure it has something to do with social media and just the way that we interact with one another now. But I feel like there's this intense pressure on perfection, and we hear from our subscribers how they're prone to give up if they slip up or splurge on something, or they're just not hitting that sense of perfection that they might see, on their friend's Instagram account or Snapchat. And, I think that in many ways gets them off track. But I think that's one of the many things you point out in your book is that, it's not about achieving perfection each and every day, but having those goals that you can work toward to find success.
Yeah. And, perfection is impossible. Like if you're striving for perfection, you will never get it. And so you're always going to feel bad. Even as an athlete, like I'm never going to hit every workout perfectly. I'm never going to do every run perfectly. I'm never going to hit every goal exactly that I wanted. So for me, it's more about like focusing on yourself, like with your customers and your clients, like, you're doing the best you can. If you have a day where you slip up, that doesn't mean that all the work you've done to that point is just gone.
Right.
Just like for me, when I have a really bad workout, doesn't mean like, oh, all of a sudden I'm just out of shape. So it's like forgiving yourself and maybe look into why did you slip up or why did I have a bad day? And then you move forward. It's not like everything just crumbles apart and you have to start from zero, So just always, I think it's really important to acknowledge those little things, those little steps you take along the way. And that's why I really encourage people to make smaller goals because it takes meeting all those smaller ones to get those big ones.
Yeah. And I guess that also speaks to your endorsement of journaling and being able to look back and see those small goals when you might be feeling down or feel like, you're not moving forward, to be able to look back and go, hey, well, I've actually done this. I have been building.
Yeah. And I think it's like, for me, it's important to journal a little bit every day, even on the bad days, because those are the days where you learn a lot about yourself. And then you can look back and having a bad day isn't as scary. You've been there, you fought through it, you got back up the next day and continued on. So for me, it's important to acknowledge those bad days and to find something positive about it, whether it's like, could not hit the pace I wanted, but I still got the run in, or things totally fell off. I totally bonked out. But I'm going to take this as a wake up call that I need a day of rest. And so always trying to just like pull something positive out of the situation. Once again, you just focus it back on yourself and your own progress, because really that's all you can do. You can't, I look at Instagram and I see what my competitors are doing and I think, oh my gosh, I'm so far behind. Like, how am I ever going to get back to that level again? And then I think, well, I'm just going to go look at my own journey. And you know what? I've been making progress every week and eventually it's going to add up to something really good.
That's right. That's right. Well, I know that your book is filled with these affirmations of building confidence and power, but I have to say candidly that one of my favorite sections was the power of clothes. And I think even for a man, there's something I totally identified with that, because I can think about, if I was doing a hard workout or even a big race, like when I ran Chicago or New York, laying out my, getting the right singlet that I wanted and making sure I had that right pair of shorts that I feel like are what I wear when I have a good workout, or just the right, whatever it was. And I really, as weird and corny as it sounds, I really agree with you. There's power in what you have on.
Yeah, you're speaking my language. So I am a big person with enclosed cognition in the way I feel when I wear certain things.
I love that phrase, by the way. I'm going to start using that. Clothes cognition.
I didn't make it up, so don't credit me or anything. But the way I feel, like just like you said, there are certain clothes that I will wear for a long run.
Isn't that weird? I just
that I wouldn't wear for like an easy run. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like I like fabrics that are a little tighter, that aren't going to flap around in the breeze at all. When I'm doing something hard or long, if I'm just doing an easy run, especially an easy run with friends, I don't care. I'm not really worried about breathability or if like my fabric's a little heavier. And so it just, when I need to focus on a really hard workout, then I'm going to select certain items that like really make me feel and tactile like this is an important thing. And yes, the night before, I don't ever wear my uniform or my warm up kit throughout the year. It is only for race day for me, because for me, it's like that last little bit of signal of like, okay, this is it. It's time for business.
Yeah. That's actually pretty cool that you just keep, your racing kit and keep it exclusive to those times when you are kind of triggering your brain that it's time to go to work now. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Anyone could do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll try in my next race and see how it goes.
Yeah.
So I'm going to shift gears a little bit, Cara, because you are obviously at a different phase in your life with a family now. One of the things, over the years, we've had guests on the podcast who have been professional runners or professional triathletes. And one of the things that has been kind of a common thread in all of these interviews is, when they're in these training camps together, they always tend to kind of come together in the kitchen or around the dinner table and cook food and enjoy kind of the conviviality of being together and eating. And do you still find yourself, having that energy when you get together with friends and still enjoying the idea of cooking and good nutrition and just the friendship that happens when you're eating together?
Absolutely. I mean, I actually look forward to cooking dinner every night for myself and my family because for me, it signals the end of any training. Yeah. So if I have a double run, I always do it before dinner. And so when I am starting to cook, it's like now that part of my life is done for today. And now I just get to enjoy this time. I really unwind cooking dinner, and I've always been that way.
Yeah.
And at training camps in the past, we would gather, talk about the day, laugh a lot, joke a lot, be lighthearted after such a hard day of training. But I still, to this day, I very much so look forward to cooking dinner. And we have the perfect situation here because I do all the shopping and cooking, but Adam does all the cleanup, and I hate to clean up. So it works perfect. Really well for us. Yeah.
That's right.
But I really just feel like it sort of signals to me now is time to relax and enjoy your family and your friends. And you have to turn off that running brain. And I love that time of the day.
Yeah. And so when you are kind of down in the, kind of nose to the grind, during the week, how do you and Adam kind of eat during the week? I'm assuming, on the weekends you're kind of hanging out with friends or just relaxing a little bit more, but do you guys follow any particular eating style, or diet, or is it just overall healthy? What's that look like?
I'd say it's overall healthy, but we eat a lot of vegetables, it's a lot of plant-based food, mm-hmm. But we eat a lot of fish. We eat grains. We do eat some meat, just not very much because I don't particularly love it that much. Yeah. And I'm the one that does all the cooking. So, and I think I don't worry about my diet that much. I just like eating cleaner because I just feel better.
Sure.
But I wouldn't say no to a glass of wine or if someone made me a brownie, I'm not there aren't any rules in my diet, but the harder I train, when I eat cleaner, then I feel like I can recover a lot more. So when the miles go up, then it becomes more important.
Yeah. And I've had a number of sports physiologists on the podcast, and there's, it anecdotally, but you also know there's a lot of science behind, your ability to recover and regenerate is predicated on, what you're putting in your body. So that all makes sense. But I have to ask you if you can just kind of step back and put on your mom hat a minute. How are you instilling those principles in your son when I'm sure he's probably got a mix of friends? Some kids are, probably eating pizza and Cheetos, and some other kids are probably eating a little more healthy. How do you find that balance of being a mom who knows what's good for you, but also at the same time letting him kind of discover what he likes and hang out with his buddies?
Yeah, I would say Colt does not have a perfect diet. When he was really little, he did, and it was amazing. And then we started traveling a lot, and he discovered macaroni and chocolate milk and all that good stuff. So I would say he's, a much healthier eater than I was at that age. But it's usually if we're having rice and vegetables and fish, then he's going to eat this tiniest amount of vegetable that he can, and maybe a medium piece of fish and then a ton of rice. He's a kid,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
If we go out and he orders chicken nuggets or pizza, I don't care. I don't want him to just live off of fast food or anything like that. But I also think when you restrict and you say that's bad, I feel like that can backfire a little bit. I went through that a little bit as a kid. I was told soda was bad. And then I went to college and almost rotted out my teeth drinking so much soda. So I feel everything in moderation, and always knowing I make his lunch. And so it has a lot of fruit in there, and it has a little bit of protein. And he is a kid that loves dairy products in particular. So there's a lot of eggs and cheese and yogurt in there. But he gets a fruit snack. it's not going to kill him.
Yeah.
You know? So just like, I don't know, just letting him be a kid, but steering him in the right direction.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think like it's just kind of modeling that behavior. Like my husband and I both work out every morning. And so that to him is just like normal, right? And same with eating a little bit healthier. And just recently he's gotten a lot more interested in trying more stuff and having larger portions. And so I feel like just by being like a good, like modeling it, but maybe not just like saying, no, you cannot leave until you finish that quinoa salad, like kind of modeling it. And then when he wants to try, then we make a big deal. And if he finishes it, we make a big deal, but we don't like punish if he's like, I actually don't like this. We've never done that. Like one time I did, and he won the standoff, and it was a long time ago. And I was like, well, that didn't work because he really just sat in his high chair for like 2 hours. And so I was like, okay, we're not going to do that. We're just going to reward when he tries and when he, goes for it.
That's right. I guess that just proved how strong-willed he is.
Yeah, I was like, wow. I mean, like, I feel like I have a pretty good will, but I lost to a 2.5-year-old. So I'm not going to do that anymore.
Well, speaking of being strong-willed, and that reminds me of, I wanted to ask you about this because I've asked other athletes as well. One of the things that I've noticed that is, again, a kind of a common through line with elite athletes like yourself is this ability to push your body to a limit of pain that most of us are just not either capable of doing or really know what it's like to next level your suffering. And, I've watched you race over the years, and I've watched you kind of go past the red zone into whatever is, I guess, the black. I don't even know what's after that, but like, is that something you were born with? I mean, I understand that you train to prepare your body for racing situations, but when you're doing the kinds of things that you and some of the other elite athletes are doing, is you're going to a level that is just beyond my comprehension. So is that something you had as a kid? Is that just, have you always had the ability to kind of just switch off that part that says, okay, this might be dangerous, but I've got to go there because I want to win? Like, did you develop that? Is that something that you saw that you always had?
I think it's a little both. I think I remember being a kid and running in races and like knowing I was going way too hard for myself and knowing my lungs might explode at any second, but I just had to keep going. So I think like I've always kind of like liked that edge a little bit and been able to go on that edge. As I've gotten older, I've like kind of reframed it in my mind, and there are days, especially in races or really hard workouts, where I kind of just accept the pain instead of trying to fight it. Like when you're asking your body to do these really long, difficult things, it's going to hurt and it's going to get uncomfortable. And so instead of trying to resist it and be like, oh, I want to get as far as I can before it gets uncomfortable, I just kind of embrace it and say, okay, this is a day that I'm going to the pain cave. And
the pain cave.
It's not going to be fun, but you know what? I'm going to be super psyched when I'm done that I just like took it. And I don't think you can do that all the time. But I think, in training here and there, and especially on race day, if you really just kind of accept. I remember when I was younger and I was running really well, and I was in college, and my boyfriend at the time, who's now my husband, was like, don't think it's ever going to be easy. Like I was kind of dominating the NCAA at the time. And he said, it's not going to be easy. It always hurts.
Yeah.
And
boy, isn't that the truth?
Yeah. And he was like, don't be so confident that you don't think it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt. The thing is that you're going to be able to deal with it. You're going to be able to keep going. And that was like, has left such a long lasting impression on me, because even my greatest races, they hurt. I didn't feel good. And so you just have to know that it's going to be there, and don't try to fight it. You just kind of have to accept it.
Yeah, Kara, that's actually really a great advice, because I see that in lots of different areas of my personal life, and again, in interacting with my kids, even if it's, them transitioning from junior high to high school, or for high school to college, and they are seeing that even academically things are continue to be hard. And, I remember there were many times when they were saying, well, isn't this supposed to get easier? I'm like, well, no, it's getting more difficult, and you're taking on more and you're learning more, but it's really, you're not, that's part of the learning part, or training your body, is that, you want to be putting your not 24/7 do you want to be stressing your body or your mind out, but that's part of that's how you grow, is that when it gets easy, you're kind of in a kind of cruise control zone.
Yeah, you really can. I mean, like the moment that it doesn't hurt or that it isn't hard, then you're stagnant, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It always has to be a little bit challenging or you're not growing.
Yeah. So, going back to the book a little bit, you've obviously kind of put yourself out there with Strong, but I feel like, it kind of perfectly dovetails into some of the other really cool things that you've been doing over the last few years, whether it's your relationship with Oiselle or what you're doing with the retreat. I mean, I get the feeling that it's, a lot of it is about helping other women, be empowered and finding that right balance that's the right fit for them and being confident in who they are. So, I mean, is that a correct assessment that these are all things that are kind of coalescing around one another with a not a common purpose, but in that same kind of zone?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, running has been like the greatest gift in my life. It's taken me all over the world and given me so many friendships and so many incredible experiences. And I have felt many times like this is like the greatest thing that ever happened to me. And like, but who does it help other than me?
Yeah.
Like I'm the one getting the attention and I'm the one that gets to run fast and I'm the one that gets to go to the Olympics. So it's something that I've thought about a lot, and running has just given me so much. And I feel like I want to give back. And, it started with my retreat 5 years ago and it continues to evolve in other ways, such as the book and this youth girls camp that I'm going to be starting this fall. And for me, it's really just, I feel like this is my purpose. I still want to run hard and I want to run fast and all that stuff. But I have at times like wondered like why I was given this talent, because it really is, you're the one that gets everything from it. Like you get the financial gain and the attention, all that stuff. So I feel like I'm finally kind of starting to realize like why I was given the gift of running. And it's just really, I think it is to share with other people and to bring other people together and to help enhance other people's lives.
Yeah. Well, I know that, around the running community, you're thought of as being someone who is very approachable and very laid back. But like, did you ever see yourself like putting yourself out there now the way you are? I mean, whether it's developing and leading this retreat or, helping to be a face of a, dynamic and growing, women's fitness brand. I mean, like you're really kind of becoming, I guess you're becoming more empowered. But I mean, did you ever see yourself being that, Kara?
No, no. I am actually, most people are surprised to learn I'm a really shy person. And I mean, deathly shy growing up. I mean, I couldn't even call an order. I couldn't even call and order a pizza when I was in high school because I was like, I can't call a stranger on the phone. And so my shyness, it held me back at times in my life. But I feel like this is one of the blessings of running is I feel really confident about knowing about running and about knowing how it makes you feel. And so when I talk to people about running and what it's done for me, I'm not shy at all. But in my life, like when I dropped my son off at school, he's going into second grade and I'm like, I know some of the parents, but I've had to really work because I'm just shy.
Yeah.
It's just the way I'm made up. So no, I never could have imagined this. And I have to say, even when I first met with Oiselle, I was 35 years old and maybe 36. And they said, if you join our team, like, what do you want to talk about? And I was like, what?
Yeah.
And they're like, what do you care about? What do you want
I
to share?
didn't know I was going to be a brand spokeswoman.
Yeah, it was just like, wait, what? I don't know what I care about. I haven't really thought that far.
Yeah.
I haven't really thought like that in my life. So I really do credit Oiselle a lot with really pushing me to think about like, what is important to me? What do I want to share with the world? And they really were the first people to like kind of give me that chance to talk. And it's interesting. And the more that I've shared, the more I've started to like really zero in on what it is that I do care about. But no, I could have never predicted this. Yeah.
Well, in truth, it is incredible to watch folks who like yourself might think that they may very well be shy, but when you give them a platform to talk about something around which they have a deep passion for, and also a lot of knowledge. It's you just get in this other gear that suddenly you're just riffing, you're just talking and sharing about things that you know and things that you feel like are critical for others to know. And it is interesting to see how that shyness barrier can just drop. But of course, then like you leave it, not in front of the podium anymore. And you're just like, do I have to actually interact with someone? But you're right. When you have a platform to talk about something that, you're an expert in, there's great confidence in that. So
for sure,
like, how has it been? Now I know you're just getting started on the book tour. Do you have to kind of psych yourself up or get warmed up when you go into these bookstores or these events where you have people that are just like lined up, ready to engage and have you autograph? I mean, how do you deal with that part?
I mean, to be totally honest, I'm always really nervous heading into it. Like, I don't know. I'm not that like cool. I'm just who I am. And yeah, I'm always like, oh man. But then as soon as I start talking to people, I'm like, oh, they're on my team. Like, we get each other. We both love running for whatever it brings to our lives. And it's never hard. But I am always a little anxious beforehand. But as soon as I like talk to the first person, my guard just comes down and I'm like, yes, this is what I love. This is what I wrote the book for. And, I wish I just like didn't get anxious, but it's not even necessarily anxiety. I'm just a quiet, shy person, which I know is most people might be shocked because I'm actually like really outspoken lately, and that's not, I don't know.
Yeah. I wonder because it's funny. My wife, it was very similar to that until we had children. And then she like developed this mama bear gene that made her very outspoken at times. And I still, to this day, I'm like, holy smokes, where did that come from? But it just like kicked her into another gear. So I don't know, maybe it's just still down, inside each one of us. There's that other manifestation of our personality that, kind of comes out at certain times.
I think you like actually really hit on something there. I do think there was a change in me after my son was born where I just wasn't willing to deal with certain things that I had dealt with in the past in my life. And I was just like things that, I know it caught people in my life at the time off guard that I would have put up with and dealt with no problem. And I was just like, no, I'm not doing this anymore. Yeah. And I don't know if it was, some hormone that was released after he was born, but certainly after he was born, I started to there were certain things that I'm just like, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to put up with that anymore. Yeah.
Well, I know you're doing a great job and however that's happening, more power to you. So Kara, I know, you've got a busy day ahead and I want to be respectful of your time. So I just have two final questions to ask. The first is, what is your like favorite splurge food?
Oh, my whole family will tell you chocolate covered almonds. Like so random, but like whenever I'm like, oh, I've just been eating so well, or I like want to celebrate, I'm like, does anyone have any chocolate covered almonds? I'm like, no one does because that's not a thing that like normal people eat. But yeah, that's my go-to.
Yeah, well, in my family, we routinely go to Costco and get that like 3-pound plastic jug of chocolate covered almonds, and they last about a weekend in our place.
Yes, that's amazing. Yes, well, I could hang out with your family then.
Yeah. And so the last one, which is very serious, but I'm sure you'll have some perspective on it. Is how close do you feel like you are to the best version of Kara?
Oh, that's a good question. I feel like I'm genuinely living the way I want to live and being the person that I want to be. Mm-hmm. In my life every day. That doesn't mean that I can't do more or change more, because I think, like we talked about earlier, there's no such thing as perfection. Right. But I do feel like at this point in my life, I have my priorities straight, and I really, I feel like I'm doing the best, being pretty close to the best that I can be at this moment in my life. Yeah.
Well, that's great. And congratulations on, continuing that momentum into this book, which is very exciting. I sure wish you the best of luck. I know you'll be out on the road doing these book signings and meeting with folks and doing a lot of press. So I hope you're able to kind of keep it all in balance and obviously, wish you the best of luck with this upcoming retreat. And, we didn't really touch on it, but maybe that'll give you a chance to come back and talk about it later. But this girls running retreat, it sounds like that you're about to kick off later this year. That sounds very cool.
Yeah, I'm really excited. It's something I've wanted to do for a couple years now, and I think it dovetails really well with the book. So I'm excited about it.
Awesome. Well, in the show notes for this episode, I'll have links to your website and to the book and to the retreat and, your social media channels so folks can follow all the cool stuff that's going on with you. And just thanks again, Kara, for being on the podcast.
No, thank you so much for having me.
You've been listening to Real Food for Real Life. Subscribe today and you'll never miss another episode. You'll also have access to past episodes with terrific guests ranging from cookbook authors to paleo experts, clean eating experts to fitness pros. You can find us at itunes.com/podcast/Real Food for Real Life. And when you subscribe, be sure to leave us a review. You can also find us on other popular podcast apps like Stitcher and Google Play Music. If you have questions about this episode or our podcast, feel free to email me at community@emeals.com, or you can tweet them to me at Emeals using the hashtag #AskEmeals. To get more information on Emeals and our variety of meal plans, visit us at emeals.com. Until next time, I'm Scott Jones. Thanks for listening.